1949, Mao Zedong stood triumphantly in Tiananmen Square, proclaiming the establishment of the People's Republic of China. The nation that emerged from the ashes of a brutal civil war was impoverished and ravaged. Decades of conflict, coupled with the legacy of foreign imperialism, had left its mark. Millions had perished, the economy was in ruins, and the social fabric was torn. Mao's victory brought an end to the fighting, but it also ushered in a new era of challenges. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, faced the daunting task of rebuilding a nation from the ground up. The party's ideology, heavily influenced by Marxist-Leninist thought, emphasized collectivization, state control, and rapid industrialization. These principles, while well-intentioned, would have profound and often devastating consequences for China's development. The CCP's focus on heavy industry came at the expense of agriculture, leading to widespread famine. The suppression of dissent and the purging of intellectuals stifled creativity and innovation. China, in 1949, was a nation brimming with potential, yet burdened by the weight of its past. The road ahead would be long and arduous, marked by both remarkable progress and tragic setbacks. Determined to transform China into an industrial powerhouse, Mao Zedong launched the Great Leap Forward in 1958. This ambitious campaign aimed to rapidly collectivize agriculture and boost industrial production through mass mobilization. Communes encompassing thousands of people were established throughout the countryside. Private land ownership was abolished and peasants were forced to work on collective farms. The Great Leap Forward proved to be a catastrophic miscalculation. The forced collectivization of agriculture led to a sharp decline in food production. Peasants, lacking the incentive or expertise to manage such large-scale operations, struggled to meet unrealistic production quotas. The government's insistence on backyard steel production further exacerbated the crisis. Millions of peasants were diverted from farming to produce low-quality steel in makeshift furnaces. The result was a disastrous famine that claimed the lives of tens of millions of Chinese citizens. The Great Leap Forward, intended as a giant stride towards progress, instead became a symbol of the dangers of ideological rigidity and economic mismanagement. By 1960, the CCP had begun to scale back the most radical aspects of the campaign, but the damage was already done. The Cultural Revolution, launched by Mao Zedong in 1966, plunged China into a decade of political and social turmoil. Mao, seeking to reassert his authority and purge the CCP of perceived enemies, unleashed the Red Guards, groups of radicalized students, upon the nation. The Red Guards, fueled by revolutionary zeal and Mao's cult of personality, targeted intellectuals, party officials, and anyone deemed insufficiently loyal to Mao's vision. Schools and universities were shut down, ancient cultural artifacts were destroyed, and countless individuals were persecuted, imprisoned, and even killed. The Cultural Revolution had a devastating impact on Chinese society. Education was disrupted, the economy stagnated, and the social fabric was torn apart. The rule of law was replaced by the arbitrary dictates of the Red Guards, creating an atmosphere of fear and paranoia. Though Mao officially declared the Cultural Revolution over in 1969, its legacy continued to cast a long shadow over China for years to come. The nation emerged from this tumultuous period deeply scarred and eager for stability and reform. By the mid-1970s, China's economy teetered on the brink of collapse. The combined effects of the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, and years of ideological rigidity had taken their toll. Industrial output had plummeted, agricultural production remained stagnant, and the standard of living for most Chinese citizens remained abysmally low. The death of Mao Zedong in 1976 marked a turning point in China's history. After a brief power struggle, Deng Xiaoping emerged as the country's paramount leader. Deng, a pragmatist who had been purged during the Cultural Revolution, recognized the urgent need for economic reform. Deng's rise to power signaled a dramatic shift in China's trajectory. The country stood at a crossroads, poised between the failures of its past and the promise of a more prosperous future. Section 5, Deng Xiaoping's reforms opening the door to transformation. Deng Xiaoping's ascent to power in 1978 ushered in an era of unprecedented economic reform in China. Breaking with Mao's rigid adherence to communist ideology, Deng embraced a pragmatic approach, famously stating, "It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice." Under Deng's leadership, China implemented a series of bold reforms that would transform the nation's economy. The Four Modernizations program focused on agriculture, industry, science and technology, and national defense. Collectivized farms were dismantled, and farmers were given greater autonomy and incentives to increase production. Perhaps the most significant of Deng's reforms was the establishment of special economic zones along China's southeastern coast. These zones offered tax breaks, relaxed regulations, and other incentives to attract foreign investment. The SEZs became engines of economic growth, attracting multinational corporations eager to tap into China's vast and inexpensive labor pool. Deng's reforms unleashed a wave of entrepreneurial energy that had long been suppressed under Mao's rule. Private businesses were allowed to flourish, and the Chinese economy began to experience unprecedented growth. Section 6. The Rise of the Dragon, China's Economic Ascent. The 1990s and 2000s witnessed China's meteoric rise as a global economic powerhouse. Fueled by Deng Xiaoping's reforms and its integration into the global economy, China experienced an unprecedented period of economic expansion. The country's GDP soared, lifting millions out of poverty and transforming China into the world's second-largest economy. China's economic success was driven by a potent combination of factors. Its vast and increasingly educated workforce provided a competitive edge in manufacturing. Foreign investment poured into the country, attracted by low labor costs and access to a rapidly growing domestic market. The Chinese government played a proactive role in fostering economic growth. It invested heavily in infrastructure, education, and technology. State-owned enterprises, while gradually being reformed, continue to play a significant role in key sectors of the economy. China's embrace of globalization further accelerated its economic ascent. Its accession to the World Trade Organization in 2001 granted it greater access to global markets, leading to a surge in exports. Chinese goods, from clothing and electronics to machinery and automobiles, flooded the world market. To dominate emerging industries like artificial intelligence. Section 8. Challenges on the horizon, navigating a complex world. Despite its remarkable achievements, China faces a number of significant challenges as it navigates a rapidly changing world. Economic inequality, environmental degradation, and an aging population pose significant long-term challenges for the Chinese government. China's economic success has come at a cost. Rapid industrialization has led to widespread pollution, while the gap between rich and poor has widened significantly. The country faces growing pressure to address these issues and to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are more equitably distributed. China's rapidly aging population presents another set of challenges. The one-child policy, in place for over 3 decades, has resulted in a shrinking workforce and a growing elderly population. This demographic shift has implications for China's economic growth, social welfare system, and overall social stability. On the international stage, China faces growing scrutiny and pushback from the United States and its allies. Trade tensions, territorial disputes in the South China Sea, And concerns over human rights have strained relations between China and the West. Navigating these complex geopolitical challenges will be crucial for China's continued rise. Section 9. China's future trajectory, innovation, influence, and global engagement. As China looks to the future, it is clear that innovation, global influence, and engagement will be central to its continued development. The country is seeking to transition from a model based on low-cost manufacturing to one driven by innovation, technological advancement, and domestic consumption. China's Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project aimed at connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa, is a testament to its global ambitions. The initiative has the potential to reshape global trade patterns and enhance China's geopolitical influence. At the same time, China faces growing pressure to address concerns about its human rights record, its treatment of ethnic minorities, and its increasingly assertive foreign policy. How China chooses to engage with the international community and address these concerns will shape its global image and its relations with other nations. China's rise from an impoverished nation to a global superpower is one of the most remarkable stories of the 21st century. The challenges ahead are significant, but China's leadership appears determined to secure its place as a leading force in the world. The world watches with a mixture of admiration, apprehension, and anticipation as China continues its extraordinary journey.